Okay, so sorry, took so long for me to get the screen share to working. So this webinar is going to be about back-end fees. So I made this chart a while ago to break down, making sure anybody else didn't join or waiting in the lobby or anything. So I had made this chart like a while ago just because it has been a recurring theme in this tax season that people are not really sure what these fees are associated with. So this webinar is dedicated to more so discussing these things more in depth. So everybody knows, of course, you get the refund. First thing is the refund. That one. So this is also the layout for TaxSlayer. So if you use something like OLT, Crosslink, or any other type of software, it will look slightly different, but there's still a fee breakdown. There's always a fee breakdown. So, and these fees can typically change, but like the bank fee will not change no matter what software. The preparer fee will not change no matter what software. Like they always have a preparer fee, they always have a bank fee. You might not always have a service bureau fee because, I mean, it might be there, but it might not be charged. And transmission and technology fee, you might not see both of them. Some softwares you might have one or the other, but they might be like a combined cost. The cost would still be like around $22-25, but they would be listed as only one of the two. And even right on the chart, it shows the electronic filing fee is zero. I actually see more people charge filing fees in Crosslink than I do in TaxSlayer, but once again, it's all about what you want to do because those are for the ERO. So we're going to start from the top. Refund, of course, is for the taxpayer. That's the money that they're getting. The first refund amount, because you see it's going to be a refund amount at the top and a refund amount at the bottom. The first one at the top is going to be their refund that they are getting directly from the IRS. So as I explained to all my clients, it's just as far as what a bank product is. There is no legal way for me to get paid out of someone's refund without the bank separating the money. So I always explain to my clients every time. And then if you did not know part of the banking process, you are supposed to explain this to every client each time. You can do it your own way. This is my way. I sit down and tell my client, I say, hey, my fee is whatever the fee is. Let's say it's $500. My fee is $500. You have two options. You can either pay me up front and avoid the bank fee, and I always give them the total. My bank fee total is like $150. I up it just so I can make residual income from myself, which we can talk about that later as well. But my bank fee is $150. So I explain to my clients, hey, if you want to get paid out of the return, it's going to cost you $150 for a bank fee just for them to separate the money because the IRS can only send it to one place. So it's either going to be the tax bank and the tax bank is going to separate the money, or it's going to be you and you already paid me up front because I don't allow people to pay me on the back end. I'm a professional. I do business. That's not how business goes. That's more so for people who don't have professional tax software, and you should never allow people to do that to you. So going to and of course, this is the fee that they will use to check where's my refund, because of course, once again, the IRS only sees the total refund. They don't see anything separated because a lot of new clients, new tax pros, especially if they're working with someone and they can't control the pricing and they feel like the fees are too high and they're scared to tell their clients, they will just give them the lower amount. And then the client gets very upset because they cannot check on where's my refund. It's very important to give them the total, explain to them the breakdown, because a lot of times those people will get very, very upset. And then they'll start saying things like, hey, this person stole my money. Hey, this person did something else. I found out my bank account isn't on there. And it just begins like a lot of things that you just don't want to be attached with. So the bank fee, of course, just so you know, this bank fee was Santa Barbara in the picture, but Santa Barbara also did raise their fee $5. I believe everybody raised their, yeah. So last year, Santa Barbara was $39.95 as pictured. Refund Advantage was $34.95, and they both went up $5. So now Refund Advantage is the $39.95, and Santa Barbara is $44.95. And just the cost of living, inflation, all those things, which I also explain to my clients just as far as why my prices increase typically every year. I always do a cost of living adjustment. And that's something you should always do for yourself because as business owners, we have to increase our prices as the world increases. I mean, as far as inflation. So the preparer fee, of course, that goes to you. The preparer fee goes to the ERO, and then if you have a preparer up under you, of course, that's the however you pay them, whether it's commission or payroll, that's what you pay them from, based on whatever you guys have discussed. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, and then also with the bank fee, that does not include the advances. So typically, depending on Santa Barbara, Refund Advantage, or whoever you might bank with, Republic, EPS, they typically have an other fees associated with advances like interest and all those types of things. Those will not be included in the bank fee initial like the first total, like when I quote people 150, that doesn't include advances. Also explains that to them too, that it does not include anything. So interest and all those other fees that associated with those are for them to it's going to be additional, and it will be in the breakdown if they apply for it. But this is a return that has no advance, and then it's also just for the purpose of the what the bank fees are for. But the next one would be the service bureau fee. So this one is my service bureau fee. So just this is like the main discussion as far as what a lot of people are confused on. Well, it's going to actually go into the next three too, because a lot of people, they will charge you a higher service bureau fee, but they will put it on your software transmission fee or your software technology fee because they don't want you to know that it's a service bureau fee and they're adding more money. So with that, like I said, my service bureau fee is $65. So service bureau fee typically is this person, you went under them, you get a cheaper rate for software. So usually if you get a cheaper rate for software, free or discounted. So if you never know, TaxSlayer, OOT, pretty much any standard professional software ranges between 5 to 10,000 just to get it. So we as service bureaus, we put up that cost, and then we save you guys money by giving you a copy of our software for cheaper. So we have these things called service bureau fees. It's just basically for our time, or for example, all these trainings, or, I have CRM included in mine, just a whole bunch of other things that all goes to account for the time that we spend in investing into you guys. So if a lot of times, of course, if you don't need somebody to invest into you, or if you pass that, you don't need all the trainings, usually your numbers will be increased. So you start off, you might not have all the numbers. Usually with experience and time, your numbers will increase, and then your service bureau fee will typically go down. And then eventually, most service bureaus, now everybody is definitely not the same. I'm a service bureau that likes to see people grow. But there are service bureaus and just people in the industry, period, who do not want to see people grow because it's more beneficial for you to remain under them. So as far as getting fee splits or even that service bureau fee, eventually, if you're a part of my team, you will not always have a service bureau fee because eventually, not everybody has the same aspirations or goals either. So it just might be minimized. But if you have eventually you would be your own service bureau. You'd be able to sell software on your own and have no service bureau fee. But you can either just pay for the software and then just use your own software and not pay a service bureau fee, or you can just, sell it, yourself. But, it's not like even to be a service bureau, you don't have to sell software. It's just more so about having your own branded software. So as far as, like I said, with the transmission and technology fee, I'm sorry too, and the bank fee, of course, is paid to the bank. The preparer fee is paid to the ERO. Service bureau is paid to the service bureau, which is whoever sold you the software. And let me be clear too, service bureau fees can be charged by TaxSlayer or OLT or any of those companies. They can charge their own service bureau fee too, because a lot of times if they, for example, they see you only process like 100 clients, they're going to charge you some type of fees because you're not bringing in enough clientele to make it worth it for them. So they're going to charge you every little fee they can, because with tax software, prices decrease with numbers. And that's with anybody, whether you go through me, you go through the next person, or you go through TaxSlayer directly or OOT directly, anybody. They go based on numbers. So, because even with, so the way, if you never knew, all sales in the tax industry as far as software are actually set up the same. So when you go to someone like me, I'm authorized to sell TaxSlayer because I have a license from them, and which my license is when I buy my service bureau software. So when other people, for example, a TaxSlayer Sales representative, when they sell you the software, that's all they're doing is they're a licensed, I mean, they're a representative that's approved to be licensed with them. So when you get under their software and they give you these rates or whatever, let's say a service bureau fee or whatever price you pay to get with your software, you're actually that sales representative is making a portion of their money and their portion of the service bureau fee, technology fee, or transmission fee. They would just typically add it to the, like I said, the software transmission or technology fee just because they're within tax layer. And sometimes, but I have seen them add as a service bureau fee. Either way I go, you're still paying more than what you could be paying. So, and then like I said, it's always just income for anybody. So if it's going to a service bureau or if it's going towards tax layer, it's still going to be the same price. And then the way in the industry everybody looks at it is these costs are out of your client's money anyway. So it's really not a cost to you. Only type of cost you might have a couple dollars up front, and that's depending on the program. Sometimes you might be able to catch a sale and get free software, but really all these actual costs from the back end have no cost to you. Besides, I mean, the only cost that you might incur as an ERO is for the loans because they do charge for the loans if no one else has told you. But as far as the software technology fee, it is $3. And the software, I mean, I'm sorry, transmission fee and the technology fee is $18. So once again, if you ever looked at your software and you see those numbers are higher and you have your service bureau or tax layer telling you that, hey, that's what the software charges, that's not true. They can always get it lower because once again, it goes based on numbers and what we buy into. So for sometimes, but these also have max amounts to charge too. That's why they might switch around things because let's say they're really trying to charge you 400 or 500 total for like your back end fees. They would have to add a little bit on to each number just because they all max out at $100, I believe. Some I think maybe the electronic filing fee might be able to go a little higher, but I know for sure the service bureau fee, the transmission fee and technology fee, those max out at $99. So they can only, charge you so much. And then with me, honestly, too, if I allow, and this is going to go into what we were talking about earlier, as far as you can earn additional money yourself and why I charge my clients more. So I charge, of course, this is my rate. So I don't have to charge myself a service bureau fee, but I do because once again, it's just additional money. It's out the client's refund, but it's to me, but it's to my clients. I'm saying it's to the bank and they don't know that, or to the service bureau, and they don't know that I'm actually included in that. So, but for that example, let's say, and some of you guys, you work with me, you might have filled out the questionnaire where it says, do you want to charge an additional $50 towards tax season? So this is where that comes into play. So for a service bureau fee, my service bureau fee is $65. So if you want to charge an additional $50, what I do is I take my service bureau fee, charge it to the $99, which will give you your $50. But since my $50 and $50 equals $100, and obviously if my service bureau fee is $65, that's more than $100. So I would have to tack on $16 to the software transmission fee and give you guys the $50 out of the service bureau fee. And the difference in what that means is when people get paid. So let's say you have a prepare fee. Your prepare fee gets paid the same day that the person's refund comes in. And it goes to, of course, the ERO's bank account. That's why, of course, if you have employees, you got to make sure whatever you do, like if you tell them, hey, I get paid every Friday, make sure you keep up with that. Or if you tell them you get them on the drop, which I definitely do not, I don't suggest that. I would say give people a set time and a good enough time to where you won't over stress yourself out as far as trying to pay people. It's not what you want to be doing. So set a pay date and make sure everybody is on the same schedule. But outside of that, your service bureau fee. So the service bureau fee, it comes to me the same day that the tax return money comes to you. So that's something that, once again, it's comes the same day. But that software transmission fee, because there's only 3 splits. If you ever look at your bank product report, you're going to see 3 EFINs always attached to your EFIN. Sometimes you might not see them, but they're always there. It goes from So the tax layer, they have an EFIN that anybody can get technically, but you have to be a software provider. They have a software provider EFIN, and this is what gets to the IRS. So the IRS, of course, Crosslink, OLT, all of them, they have software provider EFINs. And once again, that's actually the transmit, and that's one EFIN. So from their EFIN, they would send the money to the service bureau, and that's where my EFIN would come in. Then from there, the next one is the ERO, and that would be where your EFIN comes in. So there's always three EFINs attached to every return. So after, and since that's the controls who bank's account they go to as well. So if that's the EFIN, that's the bank account. So that transmission fee is associated with TaxSlayer, and it goes to TaxSlayer's bank account. All of those software transmission fee, the technology fee, but the electronic. Oh, I'm gonna go over just real fast. The electronic filing fee is for the ERO. So that would be if you wanted to charge additional to the prepare fee, but the prepare fee once again can be to the PTN user. The electronic filing fee could only be to the ERO. So for example, like let's say you had an office, you got 10 preparers. You tell them, hey, I'm gonna pay everybody 70% of the prepare fee, but then you charge like $100 extra electronic filing fee on top of the return. You're entitled to 100% of the electronic filing fee because technically that's not the prepare fee. So then you would be getting 30% plus an additional $100 electronic filing fee. I mean, I don't do that or anything, but some people do, and they have their reasons. They might have things set up with the preparer that behind the scenes that people don't know about. So I can't say when to not use it. I mean, when to use it and when to not use it, because some people, once again, do have their reasons for using it, and that is a valid reason. If you do have some type of contract with your preparer, that it might be a reason. I also had, for me, I didn't actually charge my client, my preparers. They make 100% of their money because I just train them like EROs, and I just make my money off of the the service bureau fee and the electronic filing fee. And the electronic filing fee is just for me to do auditing. And that's, like I said, that's a valid reason, especially considering they can make 100% of their money. But going back to what is paid out. So if you go to the transmission fee, so that's why, like I said, really, I'm taking it out of my money that I could be getting today and giving it to you guys as a rebate. And that's why also it's a rebate in June, because you got to make sure it actually came through. And then it's like also rebates, even with the tax layer and even with a service bureau. Typically, the rebate is one time a year. So anything processed after that time, you're not going to pretty much get too much of a rebate for. So, I mean, you're still entitled to your money, but it's not going to come like the same way. It's only coming in batches as far as if it reaches a certain amount. So once again, let's say you do want to do the full 50, once again, the $16 will have to be added onto the software transmission fee. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's make sure it's just anything else. So, okay, this also, it shows everything that I have said over here. I guess we can do questions now. Anybody have any questions just as far as the bank fees and how they're set up and what they consist of? Oh, I'm sorry too. One is not on here because I definitely do not even touch that, care about it, or none of that. Because I'm not a fee person. I don't try every fee to get people money. Like, I like loyalty, I like clients, and I really appreciate my clients to the core. A little bit about me, if you don't know me, I started out at 17 doing taxes, and I've always been smart, but I didn't have experience when I started out. And a lot of people stuck with me as I gained experience. And I really, appreciate that, but there have been clients for like about 12 years now. They've been, some of them 10 to 12 years. Most of my clients have been with me that long. And once they get with me, they pretty much stick with me because I'm a very transparent person. I explain this to my clients just as well as I explain it to you guys. Oh, I'm sorry. The fee was document prep fee. So I don't do document prep fees in the Service Bureau portal. They do mention it a few times as far as, oh, you want to add a document prep fee? No, I do not. But they do have document prep fee And the document prep fee, it can be paid to either or. It can be paid to the service bureau or it can be paid to the ERO because both of us have a chance to add it on. So let's say as a service bureau, I add it on, it's going to be paid to me. But if I take a document prep fee and add it on as a service bureau, and then you see the document prep fee in your system and you're an ERO, you say, I want to add more to it. That actually, they will split up the money and, give you your portion that you added on and give me the portion that I added on. And that's just based on your software because, like, my software login is a service bureau login. So anything that feeds and anything attached to my EFIN, they know to pay to me. That's why that EFIN is very important because they pay to that EFIN. So no matter what you're doing, if it's, in this, because, well, service bureaus, we got two platforms. We have the software that you guys see on your end, but we also have like an online hub where we actually connect to the main platform of the software, especially the web-based ones, and we load you guys in so you can be transmitted into the software. And then it's basically two user interfaces for the service bureau. So we have two sides, but we can add fees on both sides. But as far as the ERO, you guys, you can only add the fees on one side. So it's just, I mean, they have a lot of opportunities to get fees. And I mean, you can do what you want to because document prep fee would be more like, I would say any type of fees. Like if you had the person coming in and they have like tons of receipts and, you got to go through those things. Yeah, I can see a document prep fee depending on your work. For me, I just leave it as far as they have a column 2 just for additional fees and any type of thing. I just add it to additional fees instead of doing a document prep fee for every client. But once again, if you have consistent clientele of Schedule C clients or business clients and they for sure they're going to be coming with things that you have to spend extra time with, I definitely cannot tell anybody to not charge for their time. So just because I say, hey, I might not charge those fees, that doesn't mean that that's for everybody. So some people have their reasons for charging their fees, and I don't look down on people who do charge fees, as long as they have a good reasoning behind it. I only get mad when people charge fees that have no reason because they just see money. Like that, you should not just charge people because you see that they're getting a certain amount back. Your fees have to make sense. And once again, does anybody have any questions? I just want to make sure because it's hard to watch the chat too. But yeah, overall, these are the things that make up your office as far as, course fees and everything. And as far as the ERO, you're in charge of the prepare fee, you're in charge of the electronic filing fee. And if you want to, you can do a document prep fee. There, you just want to do on it right by your clients. Also, fees that you will not see on here that you might see in your return are like audit protection. They have identity one too. Like you can do identity protection or audit protection through TaxSlayer. They partner through people. I personally don't do it anymore. Actually, when I was with CrossLink, like I started my first 4 years in my career, I was actually with CrossLink before I switched to TaxSlayer. All the time I was with CrossLink, I used to add the audit protection every time just to charge my clients because I did at the time I wasn't well when I wasn't the ERO, my what would it be? I guess my ERO would had charged $20, but he would give it to us. So I didn't mind making an additional $20 off of the return. And especially when I only had like 10 or 15 clients back then. So it was like 10 or 15 clients times 20. It added up a little bit for me, especially when I wasn't making that much money. But the more that I started making money and having tons of clients, I became an ERO. The little $20 definitely didn't make much of a difference for me. But it's also depending on your clientele and also what they want. And then I also, with audit protection, yes, it protects you. But for me, I take care of my own audits because it's a lot different. Like, so it's like I'm also telling them to pay for audit protection and they're not actually using it. So I stopped doing it. Cause really I was like 100, I think like $20 total is with my $20 add-on fee. And I was like, eventually I was like, that could be more money I could be charging in my prep fees and get it in my pocket. So that's how I looked at it, especially if I'm the one actually working the audit. And that worked out better for me and my money, like money in my pocket. So I charge my own audit protection in a way. And I tell people too, like, you're protected against any audit when you file with me because I address the audits and I do. And I actually help out other people audits too. That's another thing that I do. So let me make sure I check the chat again. Making sure that no one has any questions. I will tend to, like ramble off. But even when if you ever decide to become a service bureau or or you guys are EROs, but just make sure that you keep your pricings and things, I say, standard to the industry, and also keep in mind your value. So I wouldn't say, like I said, the service bureau fee. I don't think people who just sell software and nothing else should even charge a service much of a service bureau fee because they don't get a lot of value. Be it, but once again, everybody's entitled to their own pricing. And then even with the preparer fees too, I would say, look at what the industry rate is. I did just post in our Facebook group the past couple of days, actually maybe about a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago now. I had did a form-based pricing sheet. So that it was then based on the national averages for the whole entire country and just, kind of what to go off on as far as pricing and based on each form. Form to me, and always been that way. Form pricing is better than just what hourly pricing or just coming up with the top of your head type thing. I actually did used to come up with numbers on the top of my head when I was, starting off, just because I would basically charge everybody the same thing. My rates were like $300 just for everybody. Like everybody just get $300. And over time, I ended up kind of separating it. Like, oh, okay, well, everybody can't get $300. What about the kids? And just over those things, life lessons I learned. And I see a lot of new tax pros still, do that because in our head we're thinking, what is as an entrepreneur, you think, hey, what is the cost gonna be for me to be okay? And as a business, you can't always think like that. You have to think like a business, like this is what the cost is of the actual product, and these are the costs that, and I mean, these are the this is what that I can explain to my client as far as this is why you were charged this. And it's also very big as far as when you do a couple clients here and there, they might not be like, oh, okay, I want a refund or I have a problem with the pricing or you charge this person this. And but when you get into just like business and you have so many clients and people hear and talk to each other, they might be like, okay, well, why this person got charged a different amount than me, or why we both got charged the same price, but our tax scenarios are completely different. So just keep in mind about that as far as the preparer fees. And then also I just like being able to, as far as the invoice, if you do the form pricing, they will show you line by line. So even if I do discount it and say, okay, yeah, you're my friend, and I'm gonna actually charge you $300 because you're my friend, it shows them that I chose to charge them $300 and I could have charged them like $500 or $600. And it also gives you like, it just makes shows how much your value is. Like, hey, I'm not just charging you off the top of my head. This is what my cost is actually $600, but I gave you a deal. So it's just all more professional. Well, yeah, once again, anytime people have any questions, you can, unmute yourself or message in the comments. Oh, and I mean, just to go over it since we have the time, if you don't know, ERO is an electronic return originator. and that is who you are. Like that's the EPIN holder. And it just means, like you said, you're the electronic return originator. So it just means you're the one who files the returns. Oh, and then also just while we're on here too, just as far as the whole thing, the stigma behind going, directly to TaxSlayer and or even any software, as far as opposed to going through a service bureau, it is basically the same thing. Because even if you don't have like that service bureau even in the middle, that sales representative is still kind of that middleman. They would separate it. They would still have one, even though it's all tax layer, they would still have two EFINs. It would still be a parent EFIN there, and it would still be a group EFIN, which is still who, the main people who own the license. So, for example, I'm the parent EFIN because I'm the service bureau. But once again, if you go directly through tax layer would be the parent EFIN, but they still would take the opportunity to add fees to you. So no matter what, there's still a three-tier EFIN layout. And just as far as, tax layer, I mean, they might do a couple webinars. I ain't gonna lie, they probably will, but they will not, and they definitely don't do a lot during like right now in tax season. It might be like, okay, once a month, and it might be a couple of things because they also been in business for so long. They have a little bit of a catalog that they have like just little certain things, but they also feel like, okay, we've built our business up enough. People know who we are. We don't, if you could find somebody else for training if you need training. And I understand it because they don't have the time. They want to do sales and do their job. And they have a lot of tech issues and all those types of things that they definitely have to deal with throughout tax season, as opposed to training. Like even the banks too, they probably do one webinar a month. Like no, most companies don't do a lot of training, so it's always good to partner with a service bureau, especially service bureaus typically, like even a service bureau is usually somebody that's in the tax industry doing taxes, as opposed to just a software provider. The software provider usually has no skills in the industry and is not as beneficial to be under a software provider, which is typically what a tax slayer representative is. And they actually do have software providers just outside of TaxSlayer that just make money off of selling because they're good salesmen. And they still have the same type of business platform. They give you no value, they give you no education, but they're good at selling software and they're good at selling a product. But everybody, thanks for coming. And if you have no questions, you could pretty much log off.